I have previously done videos on my own unpopular opinions on horror films. I thought it would be really interesting to see some other people's unpopular horror opinions. So I asked on my Instagram stories a few days ago for people to confess their horror unpopular opinions, and they did not disappoint. So I'm going to go through some of them, talk about them, let you know if I agree, and maybe you could also let me know if you agree with them in the comments, and also let me know some of your unpopular horror opinions, and if I get enough then maybe I will do another video. I'm not going to be reading out people's usernames. I will blur them on the screen because I'm not here to expose anyone. The first one is someone saying the entire Conjuring franchise is awful. Honestly, I feel like I kind of agree with this one a little bit. I don't think the whole franchise is awful, but I do think there is way too many of them. I think they are just bringing them out and they're not all that good. I'm personally not a fan of the Nun films. I do like the Annabelle films, but I'm really not that bothered about them. And it's the same with the Conjuring films. I don't really feel that strongly about them either way. I do like the first Conjuring film and some of the other films in the franchise, but I just never go to rewatch them. I know some people absolutely love this franchise, but I'm just not a massive paranormal person in general. Okay, so the next one I'm going to read out is A Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is the best one. I do think Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is one of the best ones. Maybe it's the best one. I do need to revisit them, but that is the one that I think has the best kills in it. So I don't not agree with this opinion. I do love the first film because it is where it all started, but the third one has some really iconic kills. We have the TV Freddy. We have my favourite kill from the whole franchise, which is the puppeteer one, and it is a solid entry to the franchise. I need to rewatch them to decide if that one or the first one is my favourite. Freddy vs Jason is always in my top 3 as well, depending on my mood is where it ranks in that top 3. Let me know which film from the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise is your favourite. Okay, another one that I wholeheartedly agree with, and that is Signs is better than The Sixth Sense. There is so much hype around the film The Sixth Sense, and it is an incredible film, but for me Signs will always be one of my favourite horror films. It is actually one of the first full horror films I ever saw. It absolutely traumatised me, especially the TV scene. If you know, then you know. Honestly, if you haven't seen Signs, then I highly recommend watching it. It is such a good horror film, but it also has such a good story. There is so much depth to this film. Right, I need to choose one that I don't agree with. Okay, so this one, 90% of modern horror sucks. I completely disagree with this. I think we have had so many incredible modern horror films. Even last year we've had The Substance. Of course, I love films like Pearl. I love films like Talk to Me. I love all of Jordan Peele's films. I love Ari Aster's films. I do think we get some questionable remakes, and of course, like every year there are a lot of bad horror films, but I definitely think the good outweighs the bad. I actually do agree with a lot of these. The next one says, I didn't think Cuckoo was good, and I do kind of agree with that. I didn't really like it that much when I saw it. I do need to revisit it, but when I saw it at the cinema, I honestly wasn't a massive fan. I didn't really care about any of the characters, and I really didn't care for the villain. It just wasn't for me, and that's fine because so many films are for me. So this person has said, I think Suspiria is overrated. It looks and sounds amazing, but the story is laughably bad. I don't agree with this. I actually do prefer the Suspiria remake way more than the original, but I think they are incredible films, and I think it does have a really good storyline as well. Of course, like this person said, it looks and sounds amazing, which are two massive parts of the film. I'm not sure if this person is talking about both of them or just one of them in particular, but I definitely don't agree with that. I think the story is really good and really entertaining. Someone has said, movies like The Devil's Rejects, The Sadness, Serbian film, et al. Try so hard that they become annoying. I do think this is true with some films, especially disturbing films, when they really just try to be disturbing for disturbing's sake and don't have any other really substance to them other than them just being disturbing. But I personally do enjoy some disturbing films. I don't really feel like The Devil's Rejects should fit into the category with the other two, and I don't even feel like The Sadness should fit in with a Serbian film, because a Serbian film I don't even care for at all. I don't even care to talk about it. The first time I watched The Sadness, I was like, no, this is way too much. Then I thought about it and I kind of ended up learning to appreciate some aspects of it. I think The Sadness has some of the best practical effects. I am someone who goes on and on about how much I love practical effects. The gore in The Sadness is probably some of the realest looking gore I've ever seen. There are some parts of this film where I just think are very unnecessary, and obviously this is a very, very disturbing film because of what it's about, but I do actually really appreciate the gore. The Devil's Rejects I don't really care for anymore. I used to, when I was a teenager, be quite big on Rob Zombie, but I'm kind of over that now. I feel like I used to like Devil's Rejects because at the time it was shocking and it was one that was a bit more on the disturbing side, but I don't think it really fits in with the other two. This person has said the Halloween franchise is terrible. One masterpiece, 3 decent ones, but the rest suck so much. The problem is I don't know which ones this person is talking about. I don't agree with that at all because I do love a lot of films in the Halloween franchise. I did see somebody else also say, I find the original Halloween really boring. I'm sorry. I do actually really like the original Halloween. I don't think it has aged that well because I just feel like a younger audience to watch it now, they may find it a little bit boring, but as someone who grew up watching the Halloween films, I don't feel that way, but that may just be down to nostalgia. There is actually quite a few opinions about the Halloween series. Someone else says the Halloween series has the worst sequels out of the main horror franchises. Some of the films in this franchise aren't the best, but I'm not sure if I would say it's the worst. I think for me it would probably be Hellraiser, even though I do really like some of the films in that series. I kind of feel like the Halloween franchise has the same amount of bad sequels as Friday the 13th. I would actually say maybe Friday the 13th has more worse sequels than Halloween. Still on the topic of Halloween, someone has said Laurie from the Halloween remake is better than Laurie from the original Halloween. I personally love Laurie in both of them for different reasons. I think she is great in the original and so iconic, but I do also think in the remakes she is so much stronger, she has so much more will to live, and she is so much more smarter with her decisions. Moving on from Halloween, somebody has said, I dislike the Friday the 13th franchise. I personally, again, grew up watching the Friday the 13th films because when I was younger, the horror channel was always on, so I would always catch snippets of them. I do think Jason is a really cool villain and I do enjoy some films in that franchise, but are they incredible films? Not really, and they haven't really aged that well, but I still really do enjoy watching them. I think they are so entertaining and nostalgic for me. Someone has said Black Phone is underrated. I don't agree with this. I think it is majorly overrated. I do not understand the hype with the Black Phone because I just felt like not much happened in that film. I feel like they could have done so much more with it. To me, it just felt like such a long film for like not much happening. It didn't feel that original. I really do like the character of the grabber. That's basically the only thing I really like about that film, and also the acting, especially of the kids, is really good. We do have the Black Phone 2 coming out this year. We probably don't need that, but we have it anyway. I'm still definitely going to watch it. I'm excited to see the grabber more, and I really hope that this one will be more entertaining. Somebody said practical effects over CGI every time, and I feel like this is all I ever talk about. I completely agree. I am not a massive fan of CGI at all. I feel like CGI can really take you out of the film, especially if it's obvious, whereas practical effects look so much more real and I just find them so much more effective. They are all the ones that I am going to read out today. I have got more, so I can always save them for another video, and maybe you can let me know yours and I can add that to it as well. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again in another one.